I have a question for you. I have a question for the room. I have a question for anyone watching us. Where did style go in games? Where did slow motion go in games? Why can't I cartwheel off the walls anymore? Why is it only Titanfall 2 that lets me do a knee slide? Why is it a big deal when I can do something that's actually cool, that's well choreographed, whether it's martial arts? Like the games like Sifu and Trek to Yomi reminded me how much I miss that stuff. I miss really, really well choreographed, cool moves. And I miss slow motion and stuff. I was looking at Sifu's roadmap for what's coming out in their game, and during the summer they're adding bullet time, and I miss bullet time. Max Payne did it really well, and I feel like a lot of this stuff kind of came from, the general post-Matrix energy of the 2000s, where it was just, here's a bunch of slow motion stuff, here's bullets in midair. Even the Die Hard game had it back then, and it was really, really cool, but I miss that stuff. So if I'm going to shout out a specific thing, it is, I don't even know if anyone even knows these games. Some people watching this might not have even been on this planet then, but do you guys remember Total Overdose or Chili Con Carnage?
No, what are they?
They are really good stunt-based slow motion trick system games that just took the idea of what Max Payne was doing and then went, what if you could cartwheel off the walls? What if you could do various dives and spins and flips and everything in slow motion whilst a chain multiplier thing was ticking up alongside the screen? Chili Con Carnage was on the PSP, Total Overdose was on the PlayStation 2, and I just miss that stuff. I miss indulging in really cool acrobatic kills and trick stuff in a way that made me feel awesome. I feel like loads of games just go, hold the left trigger, shoot the thing with the right, or whatever, and it's why I'm embracing things like Sifu, Trek to Yomi, or whatever, games that remind me of how awesome animation systems can be, because I miss style in games. Also, shout out to Here Comes the Pain, Smackdown, and they let you hit a button during a wrestler's finisher to rotate the camera around them. Even Tiger Woods did it back in the day. We don't do it anymore. Where's 360 cams? Where's slow motion? Where is it?
All I'm hearing from this is we need John Woo's Stranglehold 2.
Perfect example. John Woo's Stranglehold, another stellar example. Shooting a guy in the crotch never looked so good. What's the most overlooked game mechanic no one talks about?
The answer to that, Scott, is dynamic music.
Yes.
That's all. Nah, basically, so there's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Whenever you go up to enemies, the music, the pianos get higher and lower and dynamic and whatever. And so does it on Untitled Goose Game.
Yes.
When you go up to people, it adds an element of surprise to the game, an element of you're immersed even more. Josh Brown said The Artful Escape did it as well.
Yes, No Man's Sky did it, the game that everyone loves.
Every game should do it.
Me.
Every game should do it and will do it if I was in charge.
I reckon the coolest video game mechanic nobody talks about is the controlling dual characters with a single controller mechanic from Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Now, I'm obsessed with this game, so you might have heard me talk about it before. But when everyone first heard about this game, now I think this was the first game from Hazelight Studios, who you might know from It Takes Two they brought out last year, and everyone was in love with that. They also did A Way Out. So they've always done kind of crazy mechanics that are sort of changing the game a bit. I personally haven't played any other game where you control two characters with one controller. In fact, when this was first announced and the game came out way back in 2013, everyone thought it must be a co-op game, because how on earth would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem like it would work. Not only does it work, it is incredibly mechanically effective in how you solve puzzles, how you negotiate the world. It actually starts to feel good. It doesn't even feel awkward. It goes all the way to performing quite well and being a better choice than if you had to press a button to jump between the brothers. And beyond that, it becomes quite narratively affecting. There is this wonderful ludonarrative synergy that feeds into, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the most emotional moments I think I've ever encountered in a video game. Just tears. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm not going to spoil it. Please go play this game. It is so special. The whole game is played without a word of spoken dialogue, so everything you feel is as a result of how effective that mechanic is. And the way it unfolds it's really something special. And man, I love Hazelight. They do really good work. There you go.
Josh Brown, what's the most no one talks about the mechanic thing?
Well, I think I've decided in my research for this video that my kink is seeing burly men in various states of disrepair, because I love any game that has like a real-time damage system, and one of the best is X-Men Origins Wolverine, a terrible movie, great game, but it has obviously Logan's regeneration in that, where if you take a hit, you can grow back skin, you can grow back limbs and stuff. I don't think can he grow back limbs?
No, Wolverine doesn't lose his limbs, but he goes down like musculature and then skeleton and then builds himself back.
That's it, yeah. You go right down to your skeleton, your muscle, and you see the skin kind of come back. And I just think that's so gross and so awesome. And if you're doing a Wolverine game, you need to have that extra level in it, I think. You need to properly see the viscera and the blood of this guy, this superhero, completely get taken down to the bone by hordes of enemies and then suddenly spring back to life in a sort of Cronenberg-esque body horror thing. But it doesn't have to be that gory. Even in the Amazing Spider-Man game, when you were in fights, your suit would tear and it would rip to the point where it looked like you'd been through like a buzzsaw car wash or something, you know? You were just completely torn down. And like, that's cool because it shows how much, obviously, damage you've took, but it also means that playing well has a visual component. Like, if you get through fights without being hit, your costume is in one piece, and that in itself is kind of a reward. I do want to shout out one game before I go, and that's Never Dead, which was a terrible, terrible game. It was. But the whole concept of that title was your guy was immortal, and therefore, if you kind of like took damage, you could lose limbs. This is where I was thinking of the limb thing from earlier. You can lose limbs, you can even lose your head, and you have to go and seek your limbs out on the battlefield and reattach them, and that's so cool. You can use your head as a bowling ball, which is the best mechanic ever and should be in anything.
It's not Medieval 2, but what is?
It's better than Medieval 2.
Sure.
Medieval 1 maybe not, but Never Dead's probably better than Medieval 2.
One for the comments, that.
One for the comments. You tell me, is Never Dead better than a 3 out of 10? That's what IGN gave it. And it's just like, come on,
the
guys.
bowling head. Sai, what's the best video game mechanic that no one talks about?
So, did you know that Luigi's Mansion 3 is in the top 15, at the time of talking, top 15 best-selling Switch games?
I did not.
I know, right?
It's really good, though.
It is a really good game, but there's one reason for that, and that reason is Gooey. I'm being serious.
No, you're not wrong.
I'm sorry, Si. I have never played Luigi's Mansion 3. Please explain Gooey.
So Gooey is kind of like this weird science clone of Luigi, made of ectoplasm, essentially. And on the surface, if you're playing the game by yourself, it's just kind of like a puzzle-solving mechanic. Gooey can kind of walk through vents or walk over like spike traps and not get harmed, and it's just a way to kind of like solve puzzles in a fun way. And I'm curious to know if that concept came first, or if they literally went, we want to make a co-op Luigi's Mansion, because it kind of allows that in a really interesting way, because co-op Luigi's Mansion, like, very easy just to go, Mario's the other character, pretty boring. Or a Toad, God forbid.
Always a Toad.
Toad slander.
Sorry, but brightly green slime Luigi, a lot more interesting. More so because, like, I find that symmetrical sort of co-op games are all well and good. I'm like, they've got their place, but like, sometimes you're playing a co-op game with someone and one of the players is just better than the other. So that other player is a little bit like, well, I'm just sort of here. I'm having fun, but I'm not really contributing as much as my friend here or whatever. But sort of, it gives you this sort of asymmetrical co-op thing. So Gooey can do all, like, the player who's playing 2-player can play as Gooey and do all these things themselves and kind of feel like they're contributing by being able to solve these puzzles. And on the sort of other swing of it, there's also weaknesses to it, like they can't touch water or stuff like that. So it gives this player too, like, a completely different set of rules and stuff that they can do. So you're actually, it feels way more like you're working together by being able to do different things, rather than just is player 1 and player 2, the traditional Mario Brothers sort of like multiplayer, if you like. So I don't know why, it just always stood out to me, because I guess also it really helps because couch co-op it's like slowly dripping away from the industry, and games like this, and I know it's sort of like things like Takes Two are like keeping they're keeping the fire sort of gently going, but we need more of that kind of thing. So yeah, for me, like, the asymmetrical co-op thing, and especially the couch co-op thing, like, if I see stuff doing that right, I'm like, yes, more of this, please. And for some reason, Gooey just really stood out to me for those reasons.
There's a game called Remember Me.
Yes.
Do you remember
Which
Me?
no one remembers, no.
No, wasn't very memorable.
No.
But it had this one really fantastic mechanic. The whole game was advertised on this. All the marketing was based around this character you play as, Nilin. So Nilin, who was a memory hunter of some kind, and her job, her crime really, was that she was able to sort of hack into the memories of various people, various targets, and then change those memories in order to kind of influence them politically or do whatever, make them feel guilty about something. You know, I think there's an early one where you are able to kind of turn the corrupt government official to your side and get them to help you by completely kind of gaslighting her into thinking one of her friends was killed by the government.
Okay.
And it cuts back to her and she goes, "Oh, I'm on your side now." Bizarre, yes, that was definitely the truth. Like it's like their entire life is rewritten. It's bizarre. But the mechanic itself was great because you would go into this really immersive puzzle where you've got the particular memory and you can sort of move around this memory and play it back and rewind it and and just change little things. Oh, change where this guy walks. Oh, move that item so he accidentally makes this stupid mistake and this guy gets killed. And it was quite organic. It wasn't like leading you through, it wasn't leading you by the nose. You had to actually work. So it was a really good bit of puzzle gameplay, right? Fantastic. What a great idea. So, in a game that was however many hours long, why did you only do it 4 times? 5% of the game is these little memory puzzles, and then the other 95% is just punching people. It's the punching good? Yeah, the punching is quite good. It's like an above average like little beat 'em up system with like modular combos and things, and it's fine. But I've got Streets of Rage for that. I've got The Warriors for that. I've got God Hand for doing that. But I don't have any other games where I get to go and mess around with memories in a way that actually felt like a really rewarding little puzzle system. And I think it's that detective aspect of it that I really love. It's a new approach to puzzle gameplay, which felt, as I say, rewarding and organic. And there's just not enough of it. There was, too much punching dudes and not enough overanalyzing dudes and guilt tripping them into committing suicide. Yeah. More, please.